So with the Doctor Strange movie hitting the theaters this week, I wanted to load up on Doctor Strange related content for you guys. And so in addition to covering some of his most recent storylines, we're going to make him the focus of our How to Kill Superheroes series as well. Now the reason this presents a challenge is that as the Sorcerer Supreme, not only does Doctor Strange possess immense magical power, but because he is resistant to all diseases and does not age, he is effectively immortal. However, this immortality really only applies to death by natural means and does not mean that Doctor Strange cannot be killed by an outside force. Accomplishing that, however, is not an easy task due to the magical powers of Doctor Strange that makes him a formidable foe for almost any opponent in the Marvel Universe. Now, it's also important to note here that we're talking about the current version of Doctor Strange, not the classic version. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Doctor Strange used to be vastly more powerful than he is now. Now, we'll get into exactly what it is that he's capable of as classical Doctor Strange when we have my video on the powers of Doctor Strange. But suffice it to say, during this time when he was at his most powerful form, he was one of the most powerful entities in the Marvel multiverse before he was retconned. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, retcon is short for retroactive continuity, where a writer basically changes the continuity of a character to fit a desired status quo. In the case of Doctor Strange, he forfeited his title as Sorcerer Supreme in New Avengers number 54 in 2009 under the writing of Brian Michael Bendis, with a character known as Brother Voodoo taking over the role for years until he took up the mantle again in 2013. Now, although he was Sorcerer Supreme again, his powers have never since approached their pre-retcon levels. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is that I cannot really think of a way to kill the classic version of Doctor Strange aside from invoking the powers of the highest level of cosmic entities. This is important because during this time, he was so powerful that he could basically remove people from existence. And unlike what we saw with our Franklin Richards video, we can't simply turn his powers off by suppressing a mutation. So yeah, I don't really know that it could actually be possible to kill the classic Doctor Strange. And so for that reason, we're gonna focus on the modern version of his character. Now with that in mind, I really wanna run over Doctor Strange's powers just to give you an idea of what kind of force we're dealing with here. Doctor Strange draws his power from various magical entities like the Vishanti and Sidorak, and he's able to borrow their magical abilities to cast both offensive and defensive spells. In addition to that, he's also aided by the use of several magical artifacts, most notably the Eye of Agamotto, which is an amulet that serves to protect its wearer from the effects of dark magic, as well as the Book of Ashanti, which contains immense magical knowledge that Doctor Strange can draw from. In addition to this, Doctor Strange's skills go way beyond simply casting spells, as he's also a skilled martial artist and is proficient with various magical weapons. And so to figure out how to kill someone as powerful as Doctor Strange, the first thing that we have to diagnose is what his weaknesses are. Something to note here is that as powerful as Doctor Strange is due to his magical abilities, he's still human. That means that his body, while not susceptible to age or disease, is still limited in durability by the boundaries of his human physique. That being said, he's a character that can theoretically be killed in pretty much any way that you can think of to kill a person. Of course, this is difficult when Doctor Strange is able to fight off the attack. However, there is a long-established aspect of Doctor Strange's powers that helps us to get around this. One of Doctor Strange's abilities is to project himself into the astral plane, which is basically a plane of existence not mired to the physical world. When he does this, however, his astral form separates from his physical body and he's able to cover long distances much faster than he ever could in his physical form. The catch here, which has been in continuity ever since the character's original run in Strange Tales, is that when Doctor Strange enters the astral plane, his physical body enters a catatonic state until reunited with his astral form. This clearly leaves Doctor Strange exceptionally vulnerable to attack, so we can definitely say that the easiest way to kill Doctor Strange would be to find his body during a period of astral projection and take him out then. It's important to note, however, that although Doctor Strange's physical body would die, his astral form would continue to exist on the astral plane indefinitely. That being said, that's the easy way. And so let's assume that we're encountering Doctor Strange in his physical form, alert and prepared for battle. How do we beat him? Well, the official profile from Marvel.com confirms that Doctor Strange's powers are not as effective when his opponent is one whose powers are derived solely from science. This is something that we've recently seen during the current Doctor Strange series by Jason Aaron during the Last Days of Magic storyline, where a group known as the Empirical that worships science tries to rid the world of magic altogether. Now, if you want the whole story on the Last Days of Magic, I'll have that out in the next couple days or so. But suffice it to say, this group poses a significant challenge to Doctor Strange. However, we also see that with enough effort, Doctor Strange is able to use magic to defeat science-based opponents. And so while Doctor Strange may be able to be killed by a science-based opponent, it's not a surefire proposition. Now, another weakness that can be exploited is that many of the spells Doctor Strange uses require him to use either verbal incantations or hand gestures to be cast. This may seem insignificant, but it actually presents an opportunity to incapacitate Strange and prevent him from using his powers, thus making him easier to kill. To this end, if someone could simply restrain his hands and take away his ability to speak in some way, like binding and gagging him, he would pretty much be neutralized entirely. Of course, this would almost certainly require someone taking him by surprise, which would undoubtedly prove difficult due to the clairvoyance afforded to him by another mystical artifact called the Orb of Agamotto. And so this is probably not a very practical way to take care of Doctor Strange, but at the very least, it's something worth mentioning. Now finally, because Doctor Strange is human, and because performing magic takes a physical toll on a person, Doctor Strange can be killed by the right opponent simply by outlasting him. This means that if Doctor Strange is fighting a character who can just take an insane amount of damage like the Hulk, Doctor Strange's body will eventually give out from all the spells that he's casting, and then he can easily be defeated by the Hulk or anybody with his same level of power. With that being said, we're gonna bring this video to an end. This is a tough one. Killing Doctor Strange is not an easy task because he's so powerful. But if you guys have any ideas on how to kill Doctor Strange that I haven't listed here, then feel free to post them down in the comments section because I'm kind of curious to see what you guys come up with. Also, if you guys are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps, and drop a like if you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you all later. Peace.